right, everyone. Thank you for joining me. Here we are back again with the Monday Nitro after our first pay per view, or PLE for all of the newer fans. So let's get this started. Opening the show, we have Ric Flair and MJF. They come out and cut a promo about, you know, despite Ric Flair being ready to retire, he's here to pass the torch as the dirtiest player in the game to none other than the recently debuting MJF. So they basically put the whole locker room on notice and saying that WCW's is theirs now to do with as they please. So mostly good notes here. The only thing, they deserve better color commentary. Maybe I'll go and change that later on. Who knows? But there we go. They opened the show. We got a segment rating of 80. That's really good. The crowd heat at the end was hot and rising. That's always good to see. Let's go on to the next one. Gable Steveson picking up the win over Ryback. As you notice, we've had Ryback and a couple others here as what they call the gatekeepers, basically the jobbers. They're here to lose and put other talent over, and that's exactly what happened here. Gable Steveson picking up the win. Decent reaction from the crowd, but terrible wrestling. Hopefully that'll change better for Steveson, and he picks up the win via submission here. So yeah, Gable Steveson was really off his game. Match cooled the crowd a little. Not what we were looking for, but that's all right. It's just the first one. Hopefully that'll improve as time goes on. Next match, good old Joe Hendry back at it again. Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. But here's somebody that doesn't, Jimmy Jacobs. And Jimmy Jacobs taking the loss as Joe Hendry picks up another win. Decent reaction from the crowd again, but terrible wrestling. That's all right. Hendry picking up the pinfall after a freak of nature. Let's see what is in the notes. The heat at the end of the match was simmering. Okay. Joe Hendry off his game as well. Not good, but that's all right. Hendry has benefited from having a groundswell of public support. Good. Hopefully nothing but good things from Hendry in the future. On to the next match. Alexander Hammerstone and Sheamus. I like this. Decent match. Nothing else. I didn't say terrible wrestling, so that was always, Sheamus always putting on banger after banger. And here he is again. Sheamus picked up the win. He defeated Hammerstone by pinfall after the Celtic Cross, or Celtic Cross, depending on how you want to say it. There we go. Sheamus in amazing form. Segment rating of 61. That's good. Crowd rating 54. So. Wrestling was 56. The crowd heat at the end was just simmering, but that's all right. They put on a good match. I feel like that's a match I'd like to see. Hopefully, we'll see more from these guys and they'll have another banger. Here we have, a truly abysmal. Oh, it was only a 1 minute video package, but that's all right. We have another video package for Mordecai. Just more, I don't know, video production. Nothing great, just little snippets of him in creepy abandoned places and, all that Mordecai imagery with the crosses around and whatnot. And we'll see where that story takes us to. Next, we got an interview with Kenny Omega and JoJo Offerman acting as the interviewer. Let's see. Oh, it was a good 5 minute interview, so that's good. We like that. 66 for the rating. Perfect. Our crowd heat at the end of the interview here was hot and rising. So in this one, Kenny Omega basically says, he may have come up short at the PLE / pay-per-view, whatever. But the big show, he came up short, didn't come away with the title, but he says he's not done yet. He says he is going to continue to go on and make his way towards that title. Here we are. Backstage after that interview, we cut over to Featured Attraction. Featured Attraction, they walked away with the tag titles, and they say that they're here, and the tag titles are going to be theirs until they decide to drop them, and that they don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. They're having too much fun with this. They both work the crowd, lots of heel work. The crowd heat at the end was hot. That's good. And they got a 73 for the segment rating. That's perfect. This advances our tag team storyline. I'm really liking the way that's turning out. Here we are, Trouble in Flair Country. It's only got an average for the 6-minute angle, but that's all right. Ashley Flair did not do well without a script to follow. Okay, maybe we'll have to keep her on a script from now on. Natalia did well going off, without a script, so that's good for her. Good commentary. Tony Storm has got a hot catchphrase. Still don't know what that could be or what we would give that to her, but she's got a hot catchphrase and it benefited from her. The crowd heat at the end of this was white hot. Perfect. So basically, this here, we just got, the three women fighting over the tag titles and missed opportunities and who got in whose way and who deserves it more. So that's looking to shape up our women's division pretty nicely. I'm liking the way that turned out. Finally, we may get some answers from Sting here as Steve Austin comes out for the Steve Austin show. And his guest is none other than Sting, who we've been seeing recently just doing what Sting does, is hang out in the rafters of the WCW shows. So here we are. He got the freedom to improvise. He used that to his advantage. The crowd heat was very hot. I like that. Segment rating was only a 66, but that's all right. We'll take that. Basically, Austin wants to know what's going on, what brings Sting back to WCW, and Sting says, plain and simple, he's here to protect WCW from an approaching evil. What that approaching evil is, he doesn't elaborate further, but that he says he'll be around to watch over WCW and make sure nothing happens. FTR versus the Good Brothers. They had a decent match here. Very hot crowd heat at the end. Let's see what else. So FTR picks up the win over the Good Brothers with the big rig. Cash Wheeler pinned Carl Anderson. Gallows was off his game. That's all right. Yeah, excellent tag team specialist bonus. For both teams, they're both great teams. They both got the tag team specialist bonus. This one also at ringside, featured attraction was out there, keeping an eye on their competition just to see who would come out on top. At the end of the match, featured attraction and FTR exchange some words, come close to brawling, but they don't actually get there before all teams make their separate ways. So there we are. Great tag team action there. I like the way this is going. After that match, backstage, Samoa Joe confronting Austin Theory. Samoa Joe telling Theory he doesn't like the way that he's been treating Ron Killings or any of the others. Says he's undeserving of having that U.S. title. And pretty soon, Samoa Joe's going to come after it and take it off of his hands. Here he is intimidating Theory. And Theory basically just stood there and took it. Didn't really have much to say, but didn't really look phased either. He's a confident champion. Let's see. Very hot crowd heat at the end. Good, I like that. Segment rating, not as high as I would have liked it, but that's all right. That's good. Here we are. Eric Bischoff comes out and he says tonight we are going to see a number one contenders match for the title. And it's going to be a triple threat bout. In it, of course, we have Jay White, Kenny Omega, and Zack Sabre Jr. As we mentioned earlier, Kenny Omega was out there saying he's still determined to get his hands on the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. This may very well be his opportunity to get it. Eric Bischoff did well with the improvisation, so that was good. Good things there. Triple threat time for the number one contenders match. It was a decent match. Kenny Omega picks up the win here over Jay White and Zack Sabre Jr. after he pinned Zack Sabre Jr. with the one-winged angel. Great segment rating, got a 73. Crowd rating, not the best. wrestling rating was a 63, and the crowd heat at the end of that was very hot. So that was a great match. This match got the crowd buzzing as it should. Those are all three very good talents, and this was a number one contenders match once again with Omega picking up the win and becoming the number one contender to the World Heavyweight Championship, currently held by Styles. Here we have AJ Styles coming out to celebrate his title victory at the PLE, and he gets about a good 5 minutes to be out there in the ring and hold up the title and just soak up the fan appreciation when he's interrupted by none other than MJF, who quickly beats him down and leaves him in the middle of the ring. MJF stops, picks up the title, and lays it across AJ Styles, who's left prone on the mat. So that one had a good segment rating, 73, and the crowd heat at the end of that was very hot. So I'm very happy with that, and that advances our world title storyline here. So I'm anxious to see where this goes. We got AJ Styles as our champion, laid out by MJF, and then he's still got to worry about Kenny Omega, who just recently became the number one contender. So we'll see where things play out. All in all, I'm very happy with how things turned out. There's a couple of things we need to improve on, but as far as it goes, I think this was a decent show. Let's finish it off now. Yeah, not bad. The Mordecai vid was our one low spot. Everything else was decent. I mean, Gable Stevenson versus Ryback didn't do that great, but that's all right. We'll work on that. But everything else was pretty good. Pretty good. I'm liking the way it turned out. We gained popularity in 10 regions. Overall rating of a 71. I think this might be one of the better WCW Nitro ratings. Not too sure, but we'll take a look at that later. So, yeah, really happy with the way that turned out. Let's see. No, don't need a financial report. We don't need a recap. No media scrum since it's just a show. And we'll just go on here at the end of the show and see if we got any new notes or emails from talents or see what's happening. Oh, right. All right, here we are again. We're back. We do got some notes, it looks like. Let's see first, let's see what they're saying about Nitro. Um, Feedback from the viewers was that it's been great and it has drawn a lot of praise. I agree with that. I think that was one of our better Nitros. I'm really happy with that. Let's move on to see what we got for notes. Give me 1 second here. I try to adjust. All right. What do we have here? Drug testing, blah. We don't care about that. Ric Flair, click building. Ric Flair seems to be click building, having forged an alliance between Ashley Flair and Sting. That is surprising. I mean, not Ashley Flair, that's his daughter, but that Sting is going along with this. That is crazy. Crazy. Ric Flair click building, especially since he's going to be retiring pretty soon here. Okay. Sheamus has an opinion on Gable Steveson. He has poor ring psychology. He's probably not worth keeping around. Well, we might listen to Sheamus. If Gable Stevenson doesn't, or Steveson, not Stevenson, but Steveson doesn't improve, we might just give him the boot. Or, he may become our next jobber. We'll see how that turns out. I kind of had high hopes for him. I wanted him to be better, but we'll see what happens. And the viewing figures. Yeah. That's all right. That's good. All right, let's move on. What is this? Decisions. Oh no, an incident involving Ryback. Oh no, requires my attention. Great. What did this dummy do now? Let's go find out. Ryback has been identified as a steroid user by the WCW drug testing policy. Oh my god, really? I did not see that coming. Whatever. As the drug testing is done in house, the press have not gotten a hold of the story, so there's no potential damage to the company. All right, I have to make a decision. Do we suspend him, fine him, stern warning, a slap on the wrist, or no action? Let's give him a slap on the wrist. I mean, because he's just a jobber. He doesn't really do much, so it's not like I had any big plans for him, and it's not like he's important to the company, really. He's just there to put people over. So let's just give him a slap on the wrist. Okay, I thought that was going to be a lot worse. So there we have it. Let's take a look. Just recap our title holders here. So yeah, Austin Theory is the new U.S. champ. Ashley Flair, our inaugural WCW Women's champ. AJ Styles holding the World Heavyweight Championship. And of course, featured attraction Adam Copeland and Christian Cage as our tag team champs. All right. So yeah, all in all, I'm very happy with the way that show turned out. Um, Nothing too bad came about it at the end there with Ryback, so that's all right. No other big news going on, it looks like. Well, that will be it, and we'll pick up again on the next Nitro. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. I appreciate it. And yeah, we'll see you next time.